Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rom-Com Room. This is episode 2, and we're so excited. I'm Kendra.
I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about the Mariah Carey play on words movie Always Be My Maybe.
But of course, we have to kick it off with our celebrity crush of the week. Mercedes, tell me, who are you crushing on this week?
Okay, Kendra, I don't know if you watch Euphoria. I've been
Of
watching.
course.
Every episode gives me a panic attack like most people, but I am fully crushing on Angus Cloud and Dominic Fike. I'm so glad he's on this season because I've had a crush on Dominic Fike for years because I love his music. But Angus Cloud, he plays Fez. His eyes, he has like sad boy eyes, but like the longest eyelashes and like a kind heart. And oh gosh, I love him.
He is very cute. No, that's a good choice. So I actually read that he had never acted at all before.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really interesting. Who is Dominic Fike? What character does he play?
He plays Elliot. He's the, like, new guy that's hanging out with Rue.
Okay, I haven't started season 2 just yet. I'm trying to finish
Okay.
Narcos, so my bad. Speaking of Narcos, that of course has to do with my celebrity crush of the week.
Yes.
I am totally completely crushing on Alfonso Dosal. He is a Mexican actor. He plays Benjamin in this season of Narcos, one of the uh Arianos family, and oh my gosh, his eyes are just such a light brown and he's so cute. And I don't know why I never paid attention to him last season, but this season I'm just like, what's up, Alfonso? Okay,
I
Benjamin, I
need
see
to
you.
I need to catch up because I have no idea who you're talking about, but his name is
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah, he does. I know, right? I think so too. All right, guys, welcome to TLDR. We are going to recap this movie. If you haven't seen it, we are talking about Always Be My Maybe, and we are so excited to be talking about this. Take it away, Mercedes.
Yes, so this movie follows Sasha Tran, played by Ali Wong, and Marcus Kim, played by Randall Park. It starts off, they're neighbors, childhood best friends, grow up in San Francisco. Sasha really bonds with Marcus's family, spends a lot of her time over there, and that's where she discovers her passion for cooking from his mom. And then we get to see this whole montage of them being kids, having fun. And then at 18, Marcus's mom sadly dies, and his friendship with Sasha kind of takes a toll after the two of them have sex for the first time together. Stressful. And after an argument, they kind of have a fallout, lose touch. 16 years later, Sasha is a celebrity chef engaged to a successful businessman, Brendan Choi, played by Daniel Day Kim. Beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yes. And Marcus is still living the same life that he was when he was 18. He's at home living with his father, playing in the same band, hasn't left San Francisco at all. And when Sasha has to temporarily move back to San Francisco to open up a new restaurant, the two run into each other, begin spending more time together. And she actually ends her engagement, but quickly moves on with not Marcus, Keanu Reeves. Like
Keanu
yourself.
Reeves.
Iconic. Truly like one of the best characters ever in a
Yep.
rom-com.
100%. 100%.
And yeah, but the jealousy builds in Marcus. Chaos ensues between him and Keanu. It's hilarious. Sasha and Marcus kind of both vocalize that they have had long-term feelings for each other, and they begin dating. All is going well until Sasha has to move on to her next venture in New York and opening up her new restaurant. Marcus lets fear really take a hold of him, and their relationship ends because of his refusal to move with her.
Mhm.
And but while she's gone, they're both still in love, but they just haven't said anything. And he realizes that he like needs to be her main supporter, and he decides to make the big leap and go to New York, express his love in front of everyone, buys a new suit, professes his love. It's very sweet. And then he actually makes the decision to move to New York and just celebrate her as she builds her new restaurant in New York and like goes off on all these new ventures. It's beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful, and I think it's so cute at the end too, how the new restaurant that she has is named after his mom.
Oh my god, it's so sweet.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So this is a 2019 Netflix film directed by Nanachka Khan, who also created the ABC show Fresh Off the Boat, which also stars Randall Park. So it's just like a continual collaboration between these two. And for all of my millennials who watch Nickelodeon, she also wrote episodes of Unfabulous.
Oh my gosh, I remember.
You remember that?
Emma
Yeah.
Roberts.
Yes, exactly. I love that show. This movie was also written by both Ali Wong and Randall Park, as well as Michael Golomko. Well, I hope I say that right. Michael Golomko, who also wrote episodes of the NBC show Grimm. So this is just like a bunch of collaborative people coming together, making a lot of just really great magic for us, and we appreciate
Yeah.
it. So Ali and Randall actually wrote the iconic Keanu Reeves scene, not knowing if they could actually get Keanu Reeves, but they sent him the script and he was like, he literally said, "I would be honored to be a part of your love story," like, quote, and I think that's so
Oh
cute,
my
and it doesn't
god.
surprise me too because Keanu Reeves has an amazing reputation of being one of the kindest people to work with in the industry. Like, you will never hear people say anything mean about him. He's just he's very he's always on time, he's always considerate, compassionate, he learns everyone's names on set, like, he's that type of actor, and I love that.
And that's why he's so beautiful, because he's also kind.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, Ali Wong and Randall Park like have been friends since the 90s, and they started coming up with this idea like years prior to this film even being made. And then in an interview, she was saying how they've been working on like making their own version of When Harry Met Sally. And then
Mhm.
Netflix heard about it and was like, "No, we're greenlighting this immediately." And
Yeah.
I just love that they co-wrote it and then they're playing the leads. And it's just so cool because like I don't know about you, but like I always start like fun collaborative projects with my friends and like to see
Mhm.
that come to fruition would just be must be like the best feeling. And oh my god, Randall Park, his like rapping in the movie is
Yes.
based on his like real rapping. And
Yeah.
like he was part of like a rap group in the 90s in the Bay Area. And like he co-wrote all these songs. I love it.
I have a question. I feel like you can't grow up in the Bay Area without being a part of a rap group at some point in your life. I just feel
Every
like
single person I hear from the Bay Area was in a rap group. Yeah.
me
That's
too.
so
Like they're all into music, like because it's a big music place. So,
yeah.
shouts out Randall Park. I like your rhymes. Best believe
I
I
love
punched
it.
Keanu Reeves.
It's so good. Also, like, I don't know about you, but I kind of labeled this movie as being a major part of like the Hollywood rom-com renaissance. Like
Mm.
through streaming sites like Netflix really like started bringing the rom-com back. Like we see it with To All the Boys and then we see it
Yeah.
here like 2018, 2019 was like this new surge of streaming rom-coms and I
Mhm.
am just so grateful. Oh my goodness, so grateful.
Exactly. Well, it's funny too because that's what this podcast is about. It's about
Yeah.
reclaiming rom-coms, and I feel like Netflix is giving us permission as well as us to do that. So we need a partner, Netflix. Come sponsor us. All right, guys, we're gonna launch into time capsule. We like to just recap where we were, what we were doing at the time that this movie came out, which wasn't too long ago. So I had just gotten back from Mongolia, where I spent my 27th
Ooh.
birthday. I was camping in the Gobi Desert for
Oh
5 days,
my
and then
goodness.
I was like, yeah, just frolicking around Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And I came back because this movie came out end of May, and so I had come back,
Yeah.
and I work. A lot of my coworkers are Asian American, and they were just raving about this movie. They were like, "It's so funny, it's so relatable," and also was like a very nice representation for their community, like having this rom
Definitely.
com that has Asian American leads. And so I watched it and absolutely loved it. I just remember
Yeah.
being at home by myself, laughing my butt off. I rewound that whole Keanu Reeves scene so many times, like the dinner scene too, where they're eating like the drinking the clear asparagus
Oh,
soup or
I
whatever.
love it, yes.
And it's funny because I had never heard of Ali Wong before this, and so I need to watch way more of her stand-up specials.
Oh, my Baby Cobra, iconic. I
Yeah,
her stand-up, I, like, cry laugh because 'cause I'm laughing so hard, like, I have
yeah.
tears, and
Okay,
it's
let's
so good. I remember okay, so this was 2019. This
Mhm,
was actually the start of my first summer in New York. I had just finished my first year of my master's, so it was a pretty fun time. I'm
mhm.
23, I'm living in New York. I was in grad housing and my roommate had just, like, left because she was doing an internship for the summer, so I had the whole apartment to myself, it was the first time I was living by myself for, like, a few
Mhm.
months at least, and it was so much fun. I actually remember the day I watched this because in 2019, I did, like, this list on my notes app where I did, like, a blurb of the day, just
Yeah.
talking about what I did that day, and this day, I didn't watch it on the day it came out, I watched it on June 5th, and my dad
Mm.
had just visited me, so we had, like, a few days, so it was like the blurb was like, "Dad went back to New Mexico. Here, watch Always Be My Maybe, loved it." And it was just, like, so cute, and it was just, like, hung out in my apartment by myself.
No.
It was really cute. I was, like, going to so many concerts that summer. I had just gone to, like, Gov Ball, which was my first music festival for the first
Okay.
time. It was so much fun. I just remember just it was a great time. And I also remember tweeting, "Always Be My Maybe" is rom-com gold, like, after
Oh,
I watched it because I just
yeah.
loved it so much.
Do you have a treasured memory that kind of centers around a movie for you?
I probably have so many. I don't even know if I could narrow them down. Can you
Yeah.
think of one?
A treasured memory that surrounds a movie. Okay. I don't know if I'd call this a treasured memory, but I remember it was something that affected me a lot. So I
Yeah.
consider myself a film buff, and I've watched so many movies. I studied film in school. I've watched so many movies in my lifetime. I remember having an internship at the Cannes Film Festival in France,
Ooh.
and the premiere movie of that festival was Moonrise Kingdom, the Wes Anderson
Oh
film.
my gosh.
And I kid you not, we were in the Lumiere Theater, which is like a super prestigious theater. People like dream of
Yeah.
having their film screen there. Mercedes, tell me why I fell asleep during this movie. It was the
No.
first time in my life that I fell asleep during a movie, and I woke up so convicted. I was like, what is happening to me? I have never fallen asleep
Oh
like over a movie
my
before. What's happening?
goodness.
So I went home because I couldn't tell if it was like the movie or the director or what it was, or maybe I was just tired. So I went home and watched all of Wes Anderson's films. I watched every single one and decided it's just because I don't like Wes Anderson.
Oh, hot take. A hot take. I
Hot
thought you were
take.
gonna be like, it was time zones.
Dude,
It was
it
jet
was
lag.
Wes Anderson. It was unfortunately it was Wes Anderson.
This is
Uh,
really crazy to me because Moonrise Kingdom is like highly ranked on my list of Wes movies.
I know, but we also, as much as we bond over rom-coms, I feel like we have a
We have
difference when it
very
comes to
different
other
tastes.
genres of
It's true.
movies. Because I love
Oh
like
my
depressing dramas, but
I
also
like
rom-coms.
I like sad movies too, but I do yeah.
Yeah,
This is crazy to me. I'm
I know.
oh my gosh. I don't even know how
Sorry.
to feel.
Sorry to disappoint. But I want to know too, like, who did you have a crush on that year? So we like to talk about our celebrity crush of the week at the beginning of the show. I would love to know who you had a crush on that year in 2019.
Okay, so like I said, it was my first year in New York, my first summer. I was just living life. So, I'll stick with the more leaning toward a celebrity crush here. I was
Mm,
mainly crushing on Omar Apollo. He was taking up a lot of my attention. I don't know if you
mm.
have listened to him before. He
No, but his
Okay.
name sounds very familiar.
Well, he's a beautiful Mexican American musician who I absolutely adore. That year, I saw him probably like 5 times. I
Oh
like
wow.
ended up my friend and I ended up at this like event where we're like if we're there like seeing his like Fader short film or something,
Mhm.
following his like blue beanie around the bar, being like, "We're gonna talk to him now. I'm gonna talk to him." Because in my head, I was like, "Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah, I can get
absolutely.
this. Like
Yeah.
this is like our levels are he's not that high up yet."
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, "We're good. This can happen." Too scared. By the time we're like, "We're gonna do it," he was gone. He left, like,
Mhm, yeah.
immediately.
Oh, that's how it always happens, but hey, that's how it starts out in rom-coms, right? Like, you go to, like, talk to someone, then they're
Exactly.
gone, and then when you come around and you meet each other again, it's fate.
It'll happen. I believe it'll happen. He's from
100%.
Indiana. My family is a big Notre Dame, like, family, so, like, it
Mm,
it works out, you know? We'll have, like,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful babies.
I will have to, I will have to fault you there because I went to Syracuse and Notre Dame was one of our rivals, so love you, but also don't
Ooh.
love you. So back in 2019, I also feel like I had a crush on someone who was accessible, but I think I just made that up in my head. I don't think they actually were.
Oh,
So
that's me with every
Y
person.
yeah, I had a crush on this influencer named BC Cerna, and I just thought he was so beautiful, but also, like, I'm Christian and he loves Jesus, and I was just like, it's so hard to find someone who's just, like, regular, but also, like, goes to church, but also is, like, really cool and really good looking and all of this
So
stuff,
true.
and so he just encompassed all of that, and I was like, it's meant to be, but it's so funny how people are very different online versus who they are in person because
Mhm.
they like had this Valentine's Day thing where they go to like retirement homes and they give flowers to old people. And I, met him and some of his friends in person. He was just not who I thought he
No.
was. I know it sucks. And I think that's why I kind of have a bad taste in my mouth sometimes about influencers
Mhm.
because it just seems like the persona can just be so different. But I was like, we are meant to be. He is going to be it. And he's engaged now. So congratulations to him. That's great for him. But
My goodness.
it's
Yeah.
so fine.
What a letdown, though. I hate when that happens.
It happens though. It happens, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But
Oh
this is my favorite
gosh.
part of the show, Mercedes. This is a rom-com hall of fame, where we just like
Woohoo!
to talk about everything that is happening in the rom-com. But first, we have to roast this film. Tell me, in your opinion, what doesn't age well? What could completely just be taken away from this movie? It is very recent,
Yeah.
but there's still stuff we can roast.
Okay, so since it is so recent, I don't have like major roast, but I do have some things that I want to ask questions about. Like,
Yeah.
Michelle Buteau's character, she plays Veronica, who's Sasha's other best friend who grew up with them in
Mhm.
San Francisco. And I I wanted to see more from their friendship because Sasha is somebody who's like not very close with her family and seems to build family through her other relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
So I just wanted more there, more than just like the funny black best friend character that she kind of falls into that trope. And I wanted more for her because I feel like they probably have like such a great dynamic, like in like the Sasha Veronica universe of this
Yeah.
movie. Like they have probably have like such a closer bond than we get to see. She's kind of just there for like one-liners about like being pregnant.
Yeah.
And I wanted more.
I agree. I think, like, there could have been a lot more added to that friendship because
Mhm.
you got a taste of it when, Marcus was making fun of Sasha for using her phone voice, and
Yeah,
then she comes in and she's like, "Don't use your phone voice on me." So
exactly.
there is something more there, and we only got, like, one clip of her in that montage of them growing up, so we could
Yeah.
kinda understand that she was their friend growing up, but not a ton. My roast, of course, are Jenny's dreadlocks.
Oh my
Uh
god. So bad. So bad.
So bad. I do believe that is cultural appropriation. I think there are people who have this
Yes.
opinion of like we shouldn't be policing people's hair. The second, I won't go into
It's
all of that, but it
it's
is. I think
horrible.
it's horrible. It is cultural appropriation, and I just think it's funny
Yes.
because, but they do kind of address it. They're just like, how did those stay in her hair? And Marcus is like, I think a crochet needle is involved, and I thought
Yeah.
that was really funny. But definitely, guys, like, don't be wearing dreads in your hair. Like, it's just,
Mhm.
it is not
They
a cute
try
look.
they try to play it off in, like, a self-aware way, but I also think you could have made her, like, the quirky, kooky, random girlfriend of Marcus with a different hairdo.
With
Like
it it kinda goes into her whole vibe though, because she's all about, like, spirituality and, like, good vibes and, like, helping people with climate
Ooh,
change and, like, I feel like when I think of, like, a hippie person, she is kind of what comes to mind. So it adds to the
cringeworthy.
cringeworthy. Absolutely, absolutely. You got every What else was I feel
But
like
there
I
is
feel like
so much to love. There's so
Mhm,
much to love about this movie. Do you have more to
absolutely.
roast?
I thought you had more to roast, so I wanted to give you some
No.
space. So, I mean, like, I think we both agree we really like this movie, and we think it's really
Yeah.
good. So that's totally fine. We can move on. Quotability is also just something that is so funny because every
Oh
time
my
we watch a
god.
movie, right, we just have to be like, this quote is, like, the iconic quote, and I wanna know what your first one is.
Okay, probably my favorite quote is "Use your car smells like Parmesan" from the beginning,
Yeah.
like 5 minutes in. That's probably my favorite, but I have a few. What are yours?
I love the part where he's like, "The stunt coordinator for John Wick taught me this game he invented. It's called Icebreaker. It's like Truth or Dare, but a little more apocalyptic."
That
So,
had to be improv. It had to be
I
improv.
I
It's
think
so
that
good.
whole scene was improv, like, Keanu just killed it, that whole scene.
I love when Marcus goes to buy his suit at Tom Ford, and he's like, "My friend Keanu Reeves recommended this recommended you guys. Do you know my friend Keanu Reeves?" And it's like, "You just punched this man."
In the face. In the face,
Exactly.
yeah. And then the last one too for quotability, I think, when Jenny and Marcus are talking after leaving like, they're about to leave Keanu's house, and she's like, "I'm gonna stay." She's like, "Look at everything Leonardo DiCaprio has done for climate change." Marcus is like, "What has he done for climate change?" She's like, "He's working on it." I think that is the funniest line in movie history.
It's so she's right, he is working on it.
He is. Thank you, Leo, for all you're doing for climate change. Appreciate it. That beautiful face of
Yeah, all
yours.
you're doing. I also just love at the end when he's like, "Sasha Tran, can I hold your purse for you?" Because that's,
Yeah.
like, the end of his big speech to her, and I just oh my gosh, it's so cute and sweet and personal, and I love it.
Who would you want to hold your purse currently in life, Mercedes?
In life?
Yeah, right now. Is there someone special in your life you wish would hold your purse?
Nico Haraga.
Yeah.
No one's in my
Nico,
actual life.
come sweep Mercedes off her feet. She's waiting for you. I told you too about
Please.
my superpower about
Yeah.
being able to detect when people are about to find love. So I'll let you know when Nico's coming.
Oh my god. I'd be so nervous. How about you? Do you have
Mm.
somebody in mind?
I mean, yeah, but I didn't know it until recently. Like, I have the biggest crush on Dermot Kennedy. I just saw that he used to live in LA up until like yesterday. He announced that he moved to New
No.
York and he'll be there for the foreseeable future. And the way that my heart sank, I was just like, that's it. I'm never gonna meet him. I'm going to his home country in 5 days, but
No.
like I know he's not gonna be there. And it just makes me so sad that I feel like I'm never gonna finally get the chance to meet Dermot Kennedy. because he's not
Sounds
here in
like
LA
it's
anymore.
time for a trip to New York, if that's
I
what I'm
know.
hearing.
I know. You're absolutely right. Road trip. All
Not a
right.
road trip, please, just take the red eye. That's far.
If Always Be My Baby came up on your Tinder profile, would you swipe left or right?
I'm swiping right every day. How about you?
I said I'm swiping right and never saying maybe because I think
Mhm.
and this may be an unpopular opinion. I think a little bit of intimidation like of your partner is kind of healthy because it keeps you constantly trying to be your best and it keeps you on your toes. I think it keeps things interesting. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. I think it motivates people to level up to, like, their
Mm,
best ability, like, you're
mhm.
always trying to do your best, but I also want people to do their best for themselves too, so I think, like, you need to find more ways of motivation, but I do agree with you, it levels you up.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of being your best, welcome to couples therapy. We like
Mhm.
to just give advice to the characters in the movie just about how they can improve their relationship and everything. So Mercedes, I know we both have a lot for this.
We have a lot to say.
We have a lot. I just think I hope that Sasha and Marcus can just practice being vulnerable with each other a bit more. I
Yeah.
don't think it should take a huge fight and miscommunication for them to finally say how they feel, especially given their history and how long they've known each other.
Mhm.
But it also feels like that's kind of the allure of their relationship. It's just built on unspoken words. And I just hope that vulnerability comes easier for them and
Yeah.
that they let each other in fully. Because I think they both know how to hurt each other because they know each other so well that I would hate for them to continue to get into fights and try to hurt each other. But I also feel like I also feel like a part of it is because they know each other that they don't understand each other. I think that there is a big difference because I saw this quote that said, um, I hope you find someone who speaks your language so you don't have to spend a lifetime translating your soul. I feel like they know how to speak, but they don't know how to translate. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
I love this. I love this metaphor.
Yeah. I would just love for them to be able to translate each other's words and emotions and how they're feeling so that they can
Yeah.
have more joy in their relationship.
Totally. I mean, all in all, this is a love story about two individuals who are both becoming more emotionally available. And I
Mhm,
want that to continue for both of them. My main thing for these two is self work. Like, they need to individually grow. Like, Marcus needs a life of his own that doesn't
mhm,
revolve around taking care of his dad and living the same life he did as a teen. And it
mhm,
also means not just taking all that care that he was just giving to like his dad and moving it to Sasha. Like,
mhm,
I love the fact that he's, like, finally, like, brave enough to move and venture beyond his comfort zone, but it also needs to be for himself. I think he needs more maturing too. I think definitely, like, Sasha pushes him and drives him to learn more about himself and explore these things that might feel uncomfortable. But
mhm.
like he needs to remember that like it is so important to like be ambitious and like have goals. And it's also like hot to do those things. And like you want to do them and like I want to see the person I love do those for themselves too. Like not just
Yeah.
to like prove it to me, but prove it to themselves. And I it's like really concerning to me that he spent such a long time so comfortable like not changing and
Mhm.
then it makes me nervous that, like, it won't last very long.
Yeah, because he is hesitant to change, but I also feel like when you do fall in love with someone, you become so much more brave, right? You
Totally.
want to take those leaps, you want to take those chances, and you're willing to change
Mhm.
for that person. And I do believe that they love each other. And so I'm hoping through that love that Marcus grows
Yeah,
and matures a bit more. I will say that.
definitely. I mean, vulnerability is truly the bravest thing you could do. Like,
Mhm.
and I want that for both of them. Sasha definitely is interesting because at first glance, I think we could see her as this, like, very independent person, which she is, but Marcus does point out at one point during their argument, where that she's, like, very uncomfortable being without a significant other. Like, if you look at it, she, like,
Mhm.
rapidly goes from being engaged to dating Keanu to dating Marcus in a matter of, like, a month, which to
Mhm.
me is very a chaotic pattern. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be comfortable by yourself and, like, learning those things. I don't know, I think, like, she she needs to find herself unattached to anybody
Mhm.
romantically, and
Mhm.
it's also about, like, I don't know, reprioritizing ideals because she was like, "Well, if I can't find somebody now, I'm just gonna, like, be a single mom immediately." And it's like, you're
Yeah.
not giving yourself a chance to breathe and, like, be alone. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
I feel like okay, I understand what you're saying. I also understand
Yeah.
Sasha's sentiments as well, though, because
Mhm.
as someone who has been single for 29 years, I do have to kind of have a backup plan of like, what's going to
Oh,
happen if I
totally.
continue on this path of like, trying my hardest to date and continuously not meeting anyone that, could potentially be a partner. Like, do I have to have kids on my own? Do I have to do X, Y, and Z? And I just feel like
Yeah.
the way that Sasha's going about it and the way I'm going about it are just different because like Sasha has options, but just because she has options doesn't mean they're viable options. Whereas I feel like I don't
Mhm.
have options. So I'm just like, what do I do? So like I get what you're saying. I also want to point out too that I have a friend who, you know, really just opened up to me and told me that she feels like she is a better person when she is in a relationship. And I have
Mm.
to try to just like validate that reasoning. If
Yeah.
you feel like you are the best version of yourself when you're with someone else, we just kind of have to, we have to take it for what it is. I think yeah, you should learn to be comfortable on your own, but just some people are not good at that, and I don't know what that says about them because I'm like the
Yeah.
queen of being on my own and I can't
Same.
relate. But I think yeah, I think we're both similar in that sense. But I think we do just also have to just kind of validate like, you know what, everyone's on their own journey, and at the end of
That's
the
so
day,
true.
yeah, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. But it's funny because sometimes I feel like maybe we don't know what's best for us. And that's like, kind of played out through love language and like the love languages that we give
Mhm.
out. So I'm curious, Mercedes, what do you think these main characters, their love languages are?
Okay, so I think acts of service and quality time are pretty major in this movie. I see
Hmm.
acts of service in like the hold my purse quote that like is ongoing through parts of this movie. I
Yeah.
also see it when I see it more in Sasha giving acts of service, the way she like buys all Marcus's band merch. Like
Mm.
that's so sweet. And like that's a
Hmm.
major investment.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
she's also just like good at getting Marcus to actually like do things. And he is for her as well in a different way, in a more grounding way of like showing her like, oh, like let's spend time in these places that used to bring you so much comfort and joy and like
Yeah.
remind you of these things that you may have like forgotten on like your life ventures beyond your hometown. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think she's more acts of service, he's more quality time in that way. I
Yeah.
also think in the way also, like, naming like, dedicating a whole restaurant to his mother, like, that's a
Mm.
major, major thing.
Active service. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I actually think Sasha gives quality time, but needs words of affirmation. And I said it
Mhm.
because I feel like them spending so much time to them together when they were growing up was really rewarding for both of them.
Yeah.
I think she needs words of affirmation because it seems like she can be really scared to use her words. I'm just thinking of the scene where she is telling Marcus, like, oh, maybe I'll just have a baby on my own. And he starts to like, you know, make her realize like, You don't have to do that, it's too fast." And she's like, "No,
Yeah.
I had me growing up." And just I think sometimes she can just be really triggered by her words, and so she needs someone to kinda speak that positivity into her and, like, speak that love into her. And I think too, it must be hard to like someone for 18 years and just not tell them. So that's
Oh my
another
gosh,
thing that
yeah.
I think, like, maybe she might be scared of her words, so she could really use words of affirmation.
Mhm.
And also just, like, after their whole fight in the kitchen of Marcus not wanting to go to New York with her, she tells him, like, she loves him, and it took that fight for that to come out, you know? So that's why I feel like she needs words of affirmation, maybe to even just make her more comfortable in using her own words. And then
Yeah.
I feel like, maybe this is why her and Marcus are meant to be together. I feel like Marcus gives words of affirmation, but in his own cynical way. So I'm just gonna
Mm.
say this right now, and sorry if this is a hot take. I don't like Marcus as a character. I don't. I don't
Ooh.
like cynicism. I am the most optimistic, extroverted person. I do not like cynics. They just
Mhm.
the hopeless romantic in me cannot handle them because they want to be so real and like so they wanna be so specific about everything, and I'm just like, "No, you can leave life up to fate and to like, fantasy and stuff." They're just like, "No."
There's
And so
also
I
ways of being real without, like, being so negative, you
exactly,
know?
and I feel like that's not something that anyone has really mastered, I'll be completely honest, of, like,
Mhm.
the cynics
It's
that
true.
I have
It's
encountered.
hard, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like he uses sarcasm as a way of expressing himself, but also protecting himself, And so I
Definitely.
actually think his character is a little triggering because it reminds me so much of my ex.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I think he receives acts of service. Like, he really appreciated when Sasha bought all of the merch for him and, like, pushed
Yeah.
him to be better. So, I don't know, maybe these 2 do belong together.
I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, then let's talk about 5 years from now. Do you see this couple lasting in 5 years?
I see them lasting, but I see it like it needs to come with some real personal work, like I was saying earlier. Like these two need
Mhm,
to be really diligent in the way they communicate. And like those things need to change. And they also need mainly Marcus, because I have a lot of criticisms like you of Marcus. Like there's
yeah,
a lot of things to be frustrated by with his character.
yes.
And it's mainly like I don't want him, like my fear is that like he'll go to New York and be like, "When's the time to go?" Like it's just like a
Mhm.
trip, or like it's just like a temporary where he's like, "Well, end game is probably back in San Francisco," where I don't think that's her end game ever.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I need them to communicate that more. Like that needs to be like a plan. Like please discuss this.
I agree. I also think they will last 5 years, but I think it's because I feel like it's so rare to be attracted to someone as you're growing up, right? Because you
Yeah.
change so much during that time. And then to separate when you're still kids, because they were like, what, 18 going to college?
18.
When you're
So
still like
young.
so young, you separate, you grow individually, and then come back together later in life, and you're still attracted to each other. I feel like as a hopeless romantic, I would call that fate. But I
Yes.
do think they will strive to make it work with each other because they're just so much of each other's past and they
Yeah.
want to be each other's futures as well.
Ooh, I have a question for you before we move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I Do you like childhood friends to lovers trope? Like, do you like that?
I don't know if I believe it.
I have conflicting for me, it feels not in all cases, not in this case,
Mhm.
because I think, like, the common thing is like, "Oh, she moves, and then she comes back, and then she's like, 'Oh, this is where I'm supposed to be the whole time. I didn't
Yeah.
know who I was,'" and I hate that. It's like,
Yeah.
this is settling. This feels like Stockholm Syndrome. Like, get
Okay.
out of there.
Okay. So with that in mind, then yes, because I'm thinking of like Sweet Home Alabama. I'm thinking of 13 Going on
Yeah,
30, which are other rom-coms that we'll probably talk about in future episodes.
definitely.
But it does sound like I feel like if you are the type of person who you do everything you can to try to take yourself out of your comfort zone and explore the world and meet different people, like that's going to change you. And I don't think that changed version of yourself is always going to relate to the past version of yourself. And that's
Yeah.
totally okay. I feel that way in a lot of times. Like who I was growing up is not who I am now to the point that I have
Mhm.
no desire to return back to the place that I come from. And if I did, I don't know if I'd necessarily be attracted to anyone there because I just kind of see them as like, okay, well, you guys didn't go and do anything with
Yeah.
your lives
It's
in a
also
sense.
like people from your past, I guess when they come back into your present, they also kind of have like a time-stamped memory for you. So your idea of
Mm,
them is still going to be their past version of themselves, who they aren't anymore either,
yeah,
hopefully.
absolutely. I think people from your past can keep you kind of in a cage and like trap you into who you used to be, and so maybe you
Mhm.
fall into that mold.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to break free like a bird.
exactly. We're here for growing. We're here to evolve. We're here to
Exactly.
learn.
Yes, we are here for the evolution of love. Oh gosh, Mercedes, are you ready for Heartthrob?
Oh, I'm always ready for heartthrob. I'm always ready.
Yes. So in Heartthrob, we just like to talk about all of the our crushes in the movie and everything like that. So I feel like, first of all, who would you introduce your friends to and your family to in this movie?
Hello, Keanu.
Mhm.
Even
Yes.
like unhinged Keanu, who like is almost talking in third person, like just so chaotic and like makes them play that awful question game where they're just
Mhm.
taking like very deep personal questions out of a bowl and like sharing very intimate information. I love him. The skinny scarf he wears to dinner is hilarious to me. That's a detail that's like so diva. I love it. I'm like I would be like Jenny, I would stay. I'd be like,
Mm,
"Marcus, you can go.
yeah.
I'm staying
It's so
here."
funny. When we were thinking of this segment, so Heartthrob, when you were thinking of who the Heartthrob was for this movie, did you even consider Marcus? Because I definitely didn't even
No.
consider him.
You know how
Yeah.
embarrassing it would be to introduce this guy, like, who has lived and, like, doesn't do anything, like, has had the same, like, band who doesn't play other venues, like, is just, like, a stoner boy,
Yeah,
like,
lives
who's,
at
like,
home.
18 and yeah, exactly, 18 in his mind, but actually, like, 34 in real life. Like, I would be so embarrassed, and, like, no offense to anyone out there who may relate to him, but I don't wanna throw shade, but, like, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Yeah. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't even consider him. But it's funny too because I feel like is the obvious choice for who you would
Yeah.
introduce to your friends and family. But I'm actually gonna go out on a limb here and say Mr. Kim is my heartthrob of this movie.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Kim is such a cute, sweet old man, and he clearly likes black women. Hello to the Diana Ross impersonator.
Yes,
And
we
I
love
feel like
them.
we love them. I feel like even in his older age, though, he still has so much love to give. And I am all about accepting love and giving love. So Mr. Kim is
He
actually my heartthrob.
He really is great. Like, I am so, like, in awe of Marcus's parents. Their portrayal in this movie is like, he has
Yeah.
cool parents. Like,
Yeah.
his mom was an artist, painter, and, like, his dad's just, like, chill and awesome and, like, lets them go. Like, even when they're young and he's like, Can me and Sasha go out for the night? It's Friday." I was like, "You're, like, 10." Like,
Yeah.
that if my parents would ever let me outside in the dark. I was shocked. And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I was floored by that. I was like, "Are you
Yeah.
serious? Your parents are so cool."
Yeah, but also, like, the relationship that Marcus has with his dad, too, like, his dad's, like,
Mhm.
comes into
When
his
they
room, "What are you
dance,
doing?" Yeah, he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, smoking a joint, about to, have a dance competition or whatever." I thought that
I
was really cute.
love when they were both dancing in his room. It's so adorable.
Mhm. Alright, listeners, it is time for Marry, Screw, Kill. We always like to take 3 characters from the movie and talk about who we would marry, who we would screw, and who we would kill. Mercedes, tell us. First, okay,
Oh,
who would you marry, who would you screw, who would you kill?
okay. I'm gonna marry Keanu, screw Brandon, the
Mhm,
ex-fiance, and kill
mhm.
Marcus.
Okay, 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 okay. I'm going to hmm,
I feel bad because I like
I
Randall
know
Park a lot.
I know, I do too. I like him as an
And
actor,
they're
but
all
this character
so
is not it.
handsome.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to I usually like to throw a wrench in here, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm gonna marry
I beat
Keanu.
you to it.
Yeah, marry Keanu, screw Brandon, kill Marcus. Sorry,
It's the
Marcus.
only way to do it. I am gonna mix it up and ask you another one.
Okay.
Mr. Kim, Brandon,
Okay.
Keanu.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. 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 Marry Mr. Kim, screw Keanu, kill Brandon.
I
How about you?
completely agree. I
Yeah?
completely
Okay,
agree. Yeah.
good. We are on the same level, Mercedes. I love this.
We're here for Mr. Kim.
We're here for Mr. Kim. But listeners, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think about Mr. Kim? Who is your heartthrob in the movie? Who would you marry? Who would you screw? And who would you kill? Before we wrap it up, we always love to bring in a pop culture moment. I just wanted to say I read an article recently. It actually just came out, I think, yesterday, that said
Ooh,
Keanu Reeves is actually really embarrassed by his wealth and that he gives so much of it away. Like, he's given away like 70% of his wealth.
oh
So
my
he
goodness.
is just like a really generous person. Like I said, he's known in the industry for just being a super kind and humble person, but he's also
Mhm.
known for like giving really generous gifts. Like if you serve Keanu Reeves at a restaurant, he's going to give you a huge tip. He likes to
Oh,
donate to charities. Yeah, his sister, he's really close with his sister, and his sister unfortunately had leukemia and she's in remission now, but he has given away a lot of money for cancer research.
wow.
He gave like $20,000 to the set builder on the set of The Matrix because he heard he was having financial problems. Any
Oh my goodness.
stuntman that works with him for like John Wick or The Matrix, he gives them like Harley motorcycles and Rolex watches and with personal inscriptions on them. So then
Oh
there's
my gosh.
all of these stuntmen in the industry who are dying to work with Keanu because of like how
Aw.
generous he is. And I'm just like, Keanu Reeves, if you happen to listen to this, please pay off my student loans.
Oh, same. Add me in there too. I'm
Yes,
begging.
we are
Keanu
begging.
Reeves, he after hearing this, I had no idea about any of this. Like, he
Yeah.
really is very much kind of like Dolly Parton in the way where they're just like good-hearted, beautiful inside and out people.
Yeah. Well, it's because he's gone through a lot of tragedy in his life. So, listeners, if you don't
Mhm.
know, Keanu Reeves actually so he was really close with River Phoenix, who unfortunately died
Yeah.
of a drug overdose back in 1993, and they starred together in My Own Private Idaho. He and his former girlfriend had a baby who was stillborn, unfortunately, and then 2 years later, his girlfriend committed suicide. and he did not have a good relationship with his dad. His dad spent some time in prison. He just has always been really resentful of him. He's really close with his mom and his sisters. He has a half sister on his dad's side who he's not close with. So he just has a lot of tragedy in his own life.
Mhm.
And I feel like how he remedies that is he pours so much love out into the world. And I wish more people had that mentality. We all need to be more like Keanu Reeves.
Yes. Oh my god, put that on a t-shirt. People will
Yes.
buy it right up.
Absolutely. 100% would.
Also, okay, I don't know if you saw, but Ali Wong is set to do another Netflix production. It's gonna be a
Ooh.
show. It's gonna
Mhm.
be a dramedy. It's Netflix and A24, so you already know it's gonna be
Amazing.
something good.
Yes.
It's called Beef, and it just was announced a couple days ago that Lee Isaac Chung, who was the director of Minari,
Mhm.
will also be directing the pilot and probably some other episodes. There's not a lot out about, like, what this show is. Apparently,
Okay.
it starts off with, like, a couple who has road rage, and then from there unravels into something else.
Oh,
So, I'm
okay.
excited to see what's gonna happen. Like I said, I Ali Wong just brings me so much joy. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
Also, okay, before we head off, I need to address when she is singing along to D'Angelo with her braces in the car.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love that. Like, that image is pure comedy. I love it. The music in here is amazing. D'Angelo, Too Short, obviously Mariah, who I
Yeah,
love so much, so I love it.
absolutely. I know, shout out to the Bay Area for always having good music, and, like, the soundtrack of this, I would listen to it in my car on a road trip all
Same.
the
Oh my
time.
god. Oh, it's such like, you could put on at a party.
Mhm.
Amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely, it'll be completely amazing. Oh gosh. Listeners, we'd love to hear what you guys think about Always Be My Maybe. Are you excited for Ali Wong's new movie? What are you watching of Randall Parks and Keanu Reeves? What did you think of this movie? When do you watch it? Have you seen it before? You can leave us a DM at Meet Cute. And just a reminder, my name's Kendra. You can find me at Kent Hollywood on IG and TikTok.
Yes, and I've been Mercedes. You can find me at MercedesGB11 on Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts and follow Meet Cute on socials everywhere. Bye, guys.
We will see you next week.
Mhm.